A red scarf lifts in the Riviera wind. A wheel spins, and a legend is undone. In 1927, the world knew Isadora Duncan as modern dance's insurgent spirit, barefoot, bare-armed, and determined to free movement from ballet's rigid conventions. Born in San Francisco in 1877, she crossed the Atlantic in her 20s and conquered European stages with a natural musical phrasing that made audiences feel they were witnessing both antiquity and the future at once. Critics called her the mother of modern dance. Admirers formed schools. Skeptics argued, and then watched, and then applauded. Fame, however, did not spare her sorrow. Her bohemian life and outspoken politics stirred as much debate as her art, even as theaters filled to see the barefoot pioneer in flowing tunics. Yesterday's Craziness presents The Strangest Deaths from Throughout History, a monthly video celebrating someone's untimely demise in a strange, crazy, or interesting way. In 1913, Isadora Duncan's children, Deirdre and Patrick, drowned with their nanny when a car rolled into the Seine. She carried that loss through war, scandal, and acclaim. She married the Russian poet Sergei Yesenin in 1922. His struggles ended in suicide in 1925. By late summer 1927, Duncan was living in Nice, writing her memoirs, performing when she could, and leaning on friends as money ebbed and flowed. On September 13, 1927, she reportedly told an interviewer she feared some quick accident, then returned to revising pages she hoped would steady her finances. The next evening, September 14th, she dined in Nice with her friend Mary Desti. Afterward, she accepted a lesson and a brisk ride from a French-Italian mechanic, Benoît Falchetto, in a low, open sports car. A long silk scarf, her favorite accessory, lay draped around her neck and over her shoulders as they set off toward the Promenade des Anglais. The silk scarf at her neck had been a recent gift from Desti. At about 9:40 p.m., as the car gathered speed, the scarf streamed behind her, dropped, and caught in the open spokes of a rear wheel and the axle. In an instant, the fabric cinched, wrenched her backward out of the seat, and slammed her onto the pavement. Witnesses said Falchetto stopped at once. Bystanders helped lift part of the car to free her. She was rushed toward a hospital, but the force had likely broken her neck. The shock was total, the timeline merciless. Dinner, departure, disaster. By morning on September 15th, headlines on both sides of the Atlantic called it a freak accident. Dispatches from Nice described an elegant scarf turned lethal, an artist stilled in a moment. In the days that followed, friends kept vigil, admirers filed past her studio, and plans formed for cremation and interment in Paris. Her ashes were later placed at Paris's Père Lachaise cemetery. Newsprint dwelled on the eerie image of cloth and wheel. Colleagues remembered the artist who had turned cloth and air into instruments of freedom. Duncan's end was so improbable that stories accreted almost at once. Some papers embellished details. Later retellings misnamed the car or embroidered final lines. What the contemporary reports agree on is stark enough. An open car, an open-spoked wheel, a gust, a scarf, a fall. Behind those nouns stood 50 years of invention. Duncan had stripped dance to breath, weight, rhythm, and phrasing. She taught students, nicknamed the Isadorables, to carry her pedagogy forward. And she insisted that music and motion be partners rather than rivals. Why did this one death ring so loudly? Because the image inverted her art. For decades she had made fabric fly, tunics, veils, and scarves extending a line of energy from sternum to fingertips, proof that costume could be partner rather than prison. On September 14th, 1927, fabric betrayed her, and chance turned emblem into engine. The irony was irresistible to headline writers, but it also risked obscuring the quieter truth of her legacy: technique, courage, and a schooling that seeded modern dance across Europe and America. In the longer view, Duncan altered the stage as surely as any choreographer of her age. She placed gravity at the center of motion, favored musical architecture over steps, and treated the body as an instrument for meaning rather than decoration. The scandal of bare feet yielded to the clarity of phrasing. The toga became a thesis. Art could be ancient and new, disciplined and free. Her students and their students distilled those lessons into companies and classrooms long after the shock in Nice receded. Her funeral rites and cremation closed a chapter. The work continued. Each generation rediscovers her not in the melodrama of the Promenade, but in the sensation she prized. Weight into floor, breath into phrase, a torso answering melody. She left pages in progress, and a mythology she did not ask for. The facts remain stubborn and simple. A dancer met chance on a September night. A scarf caught a wheel. A century later, the art she liberated still breathes. If you liked what you watched, please like and subscribe. We post interesting and crazy stories from throughout history every Wednesday and Saturday. Yesterday's craziness, because yesterday was crazy too.